it thus behoves on us to keep the public abreast of our unrelenting and committed efforts in the various theaters of operation. Hence the need for this third quarter scorecard to give the general public a succinct outlook of our performance between July and September this year. This will give a better perspective of the cumulative results of the operational activities and achievements of the military operating with sister security agencies in the various theaters of operation across the geopolitical zones of this country. Within the period under review, troops engaged in series of land, maritime, and air operations, involving both kinetic and non-kinetic activities across the country in major and subsidiary operations. The land operations conducted, among others, across the various theaters of operation include clearance, ambush, raid, picketing, cordon and search operations, as well as artillery bombardments and aggressive patrols. Others were maritime operations involving anti-piracy, anti-illegal bunkering, anti-crude oil theft, and anti-pipeline vandalism operations, as well as other duties such as anti-smuggling operations. Furthermore, comprehensive air operations, including air patrols, intelligence surveillance reconnaissance missions, offensive airstrikes, air interdictions, search and rescue operations, as well as close air support and air cover for ground troops. These operations resulted in the deletion of several terrorists and bandits, inhibition of activities of economic saboteurs, as well as exposures and obviation of other criminal activities. In all these efforts, some of our troops paid the supreme price. However, troops of the Armed Forces of Nigeria and other security agencies have consistently exhibited gallantry and resilience in the various operations. Just as evidenced in our press releases and weekly briefings, during the period, scores of terrorists and bandits have been neutralized, others incapacitated, and their camps destroyed through ground, maritime, and air operations. In addition, several criminal elements, including high-profile members, were killed in action, while others arrested, sometimes together with their families, as well as informants and gun runners. Besides, there are records of scores of them surrendering to troops due to overwhelming superior firepower. Other feats recorded in the course of our operations were the rescue of kidnapped victims, repair and forestallment of terrorist attacks on civilians and troops, as well as recovery of caches of arms and ammunition, equipment and vehicles, and odors of livestock. You may also recall that in the maritime environment, troops in major and subsidiary operations were able to disrupt smuggling activities, deactivate illegal refining sites, arrest perpetrators, seize foreign parboiled rice, and recover tons of petroleum products. Specifically, in the northwest zone of the country, between 1st of July and 30th of September 2020, a total of 3,829 livestock, 6,830 rounds of ammunition, and 93 assaulted rifles were recovered from the armed bandits by the gallant troops in this zone. Furthermore, within the period under review, a total of 91 kidnapped victims were rescued, and 312 armed bandits were killed in action. In the same vein, a total of 391 arrests were made in the zone, including high-profile armed bandits, gun runners, and bandits collaborators. A total cash of $4,800,000 was recovered from armed bandits informants in the zone. Meanwhile, in the northeast zone of the country, within the period, 66 kidnapped victims were rescued by the gallant troops of Operation Lafia Adole. Also, a total of 285 rounds of ammunition, as well as 84 assaulted rifles were recovered from the Boko Haram terrorists and ISWAP fighters. Similarly, a total of 450 insurgents and terrorists, including some of their commanders, a chunk of them, were killed by the troops. Additionally, 10 gun trucks as well as 38 grenades were recovered. Also within the period, a total of 53 arrests were made, including high-value targets. In the north-central zone of the country within the period, troops of Operation Safe Haven, Wellstroke, and Thunderstrike have achieved appreciable successes. A total of 116 kidnapped victims were rescued. Furthermore, troops neutralized a total of 107 armed bandits, including militia gang leaders. In the same vein, 84 assaulted rifles, as well as 385 rounds of ammunition were recovered from armed bandits and other criminal elements in the zone. Similarly, a total of 1,136 criminals, including family members of the Darul Salam sect, were arrested within the period in the North Central Zone. In the South-South Zone, the armed forces of Nigeria, working with other security agencies, have continued to record tremendous successes against economic sabotage and other sundry crimes in the zone. Within the period under review, a cumulative total of 8,890,300 liters of automotive gas oil and 33,500 liters of double-purpose kerosene were impounded by the troops of Operation Delta Safe. In the same vein, the gallant troops immobilized a total of 70 illegal refining sites, 66 dugout pits, 134 metal storage tanks within the period. Troops also impounded a cumulative total of 26,772 barrels of stolen crude oil from oil thieves. Equally, 331,107 liters of product suspected to be stolen premium motor spirit was recovered. 263 drums of stolen premium motor spirit was also recovered. A total of 18 kidnapped victims were rescued, while 46 arrests were made. Furthermore, 2,647 bags of smuggled imported rice were impounded. 37 boats engaged in illegal activities were arrested. 46 pirates were also arrested. 11 trucks arrested. 10 rifles and 60 rounds of ammunition recovered. This is in addition to 15 pirate camps that were destroyed. Equally, in the South-South or Southwest, troops of Operation Awatsi have continued with the fight against pipeline vandals and economic saboteurs with attendant successes. Within the period, troops of Operation Awatsi have impounded a total of 386,600 liters of premium motor spirit and 10,345 barrels of stolen crude oil. Additionally, a total of 150,000 liters of stolen automotive gas oil was also recovered. This is in addition to 3,594 rounds of ammunition and 14 rifles assaulted. Within the period, a total of 30 kidnapped victims were rescued, 36 arrests were made, and 18 illegal refining sites were immobilized. This is in addition to 5 boats and 5 trucks which were engaged in illegal activities that were arrested within the period. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, in addition to the kinetic operations, the Armed Forces of Nigeria carried out non-kinetic operations in form of civil military cooperation activities. In this regard, a total of 81 boreholes were sunk for host communities across the country, 14 schools were renovated, 14 clinics and dispensaries were constructed and donated to host communities, as well as the renovation of 2 worship centers. Furthermore, 2 buses were donated to some host communities. Additionally, the Armed Forces of Nigeria constructed road, installed transformer and solar power equipment in some host communities. The military also fostered several stakeholders and reconciliation meetings between hostile communities and carried out medical outreaches. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, in summary, the Armed Forces of Nigeria from 1st of July to 30th September 2020 neutralized 869 criminal elements and rescued 321 kidnapped victims across the country. Furthermore, a cumulative total of 9,040,300 liters of stolen automotive gas oil and 33,500 liters of double-purpose kerosene were recovered. This is in addition to 1,708 arrests that were made, as well as recovery of large cache of arms and ammunition. A cumulative of 37,117 barrels of stolen crude oil was recovered across the zones that conduct the operation in the southern part of the country. Furthermore, 914,707 liters of stolen PMS was cumulatively recovered. From our operations within the 3rd quarter of this year, it is obvious that the Armed Forces of Nigeria is winning the war against the enemies of our great nation. Consequently, the Armed Forces of Nigeria will remain resolute and highly committed to this cause. It will sustain the offensive and will not relent until peace is restored to every troubled zone of Nigeria. And here is a message to criminals out there. It's in your court to choose between life and death, between being killed in action or surrendering peacefully and joining other peace-loving citizens of the country, because we have the mandate and we shall continue with the land, maritime, and air operations. The general public is also assured of the commitment of the Armed Forces of Nigeria to protect our economic assets. The High Command of High Command of the Nigerian Military wishes to thank the general public for their support and further solicit their cooperation towards providing credible and timely information that will facilitate proactive engagements in our operations. I also want to state again categorically that the 3rd quarter of operations, the 3rd quarter performance of operations conducted by the Armed Forces of Nigeria and other security agencies is a show of our commitment, synergy, and determination to lay down our lives to protect our great nation. The gallant troops of the Armed Forces of Nigeria and operatives of other security agencies will sustain the tempo against the enemies of our dear nation.